Dr. Sequoya Adebayo, who's the Director of the Veterans Affairs at the University of the District of Columbia, where last week Angelina Garland served as the Veterans Day keynote speaker at UDC when she offered this amazing message of resilience, opportunity, and community. And we're going to discuss how universities can honor Veterans Day by ensuring access to benefits and other kinds of wonderful services. Later on in the show, I'll just say we're going to be talking to Major Bianca Scott, and as I said, another who is not a veteran yet, but will is still currently serving. We'll have her on in just a few, as well as Clifton Lewis with Access. What is it? Access Housing DC. Yes. So anyway, Dr. Adebayo, I'm trying to get it all in, but I'm so glad that you were able to join us today. Welcome to Let's
Absolutely.
Talk.
Thank you so much for having me. It is a honor and a pleasure to be here today, especially today on Veterans Day.
Yes, yes, yes. Now, are you a veteran? I should ask.
I am not. I have a lot of family members. My grandfather, my aunts and uncles have all served.
Oh, wonderful. Yes, we have them in our families. Tell
Mhm.
us about the program that you run at the University of the District of Columbia.
Absolutely. So it's exciting to be here to kind of give some recognition because we are the only public institution in Washington, D.C., and we are a land grant university. We are a historically Black institution, and actually, that their status as being an HBCU is what assisted me when I was completing my doctoral program. I looked at the decision making process of Black veterans who elected to attend a public historically Black institution in DC. So essentially, I looked at why students chose UDC over other HBCUs, namely Howard, that's the only other one in DC, or any of the local PWIs. And kind of those pillars that I arrived at was a sense of family, community, support, financing. Us being a public institution, we have the best tuition rate, honestly, in the city. On top of that, we are also what's called a yellow ribbon institution. And so that allows us to make up the difference between in state and out of state tuition rates, which supports the students tremendously. So that's kind of like the pillar of what we do. But in addition, because we look at students holistically, we have different programming that lends to the student as a whole person. We know that these veterans are not monoliths, and we want to make sure that there's something for everyone. It's also cool that I am a woman in this position because a lot of the people in this position are not women. And so it's extra things that I just think of or considerations that I think traditionally men wouldn't think of. Things including programs around domestic violence awareness, maybe we had a program last month about Narcan training and opioid reduction training, things of that nature. We had a share your love for Valentine's Day event. So yeah.
Dr. Adebayo, I hate to cut you off, but let's go back a little bit because now, how long has this program existed at UDC?
So I've been in my role for 9 years. It was 9 years in September.
Okay.
So there were someone serving veterans in my place, but as far as the programmatic piece and having a holistic department started when I became director.
And if you were to give us sort of a census of the veterans who participate, not only say age wise and
Mhm.
gender, how many people are currently enrolled or could potentially be enrolled in your program, and
Yeah.
men and women, I'm assuming. So it's for anybody that's a veteran. And
Mhm.
do they tend to be like recently? Um, retired from the military, or are they older? Tell us about your student body.
Yeah, so we kind of have everything across the board. Obviously, we're in HBCU, so the majority of our students are Black and Brown. We do have students that aren't, and they fit in just fine. The majority of our students are men that have separated. Um, a lot of them, and I say, and the reason why I said separated is because everyone didn't retire per se.
Yeah, I
We
couldn't
do have
figure out the right word. So
yeah, yeah, no worries. We do have men and women who have retired, but a
yeah,
lot of our students have just separated. When their time was up, everyone knows when your time is up, so they separated and decided to enroll in a school. Um, we also have a lot of dependents, so not necessarily veterans, but that service that comes along with being in a household with a veteran. We have a lot of those students too. So right now, I think our veteran population is closer to 150, which doesn't seem like a lot, but during COVID, our numbers went down to like 80. So we've been steadily getting more students into the program. And we have a variety of benefits that we offer, which
mhm,
I'm sure we'll talk about soon. But
yeah.
there's a certain population of people that have a service connected disability. We've been steadily increasing that number, and I think that has a lot to do with just the sense of comfort and relationship building that we've been doing in the community.
It's interesting because we know that there are a lot of young people who graduate from high school and
Mm,
don't know which way to go. And it's these days, I mean, back in the day, let me put it that way, a lot of the guys would just go into the military. That's
mm,
just, was the easy thing to do. And I know some young folks. We just had a young lady on the show a couple of weeks ago that's has been recruited and is going into the Air Force. But they go in, spend a couple of years just to try to figure out, what direction life they want to take in life. They don't go to war, right? They're just serving.
mm.
Some do, and then they come back and say, okay, now I've got it. So, what kind of, I guess, academic advice are you giving to these veterans? And for most of them, is there like an area that they tend to pursue more so than others?
Well,
There's,
that's a loaded question.
yeah.
And I say that because there is a rule called the 85-15 rule, which was put in place by the VA to ensure that one particular degree program didn't have a majority of veterans. And essentially, at most institutions, it is just like a checks and balance system.
Mm,
And it kind of discourages students from attending, or for institutions of being kind of like military meals where they're just having a popular major that a lot of veterans would like, and they're just kind of taking their money. But we do have some degree programs that have more veterans than others, but nothing substantial. It's kind of, they're all over the board. And I think
interesting.
initially people think that whatever you did in the service is what you should look into when you're looking at higher institution programs, and it's not it. For some people it is, but most people it's not. I have a lot of students in the mortuary science program. We also have an aviation maintenance program, and I have a lot of students in that program. Um, Business management, psychology are another. Those two are other popular programs. So they're kind of, it really depends, and I think it helps with community and counseling. So we were able to build. We haven't officially gotten the space, but we have a makeshift vet center on campus where we have snacks and we have refrigerator. I always say it has elite snacks and elite drinks in the refrigerator, and it's just a space for community and fellowship for our veterans. And in those conversations, we get to it, so people are able to, if they come in with something that they have in mind, there's always a veteran that we can connect them with that has been down that road or said, hey, have you thought about this? Perspectives that I wouldn't have thought of. I can give them advice from my point of view, but my point of view may not be their point of view or relatable for that matter. Um, we also have an event that we have called Dinner with a Vet. And so we bring an alum from UDC who's obviously a veteran. Um, we started off going to Cheesecake Factory when everyone was slandering Cheesecake Factory. And I'm like, they have everything on the menu. So how can you hate Cheesecake Factory? But we would take them there, and we couldn't buy alcohol, of course, but food and drinks and fellowship. And they were able to talk to a veteran who's been through UDC, who could tell them about other programs, Handshake, the platform for people to find careers and internships, things of those from that student point of view. And now on the other side, they're talking about security clearances expenses, how much money they're making, how their military experience played a role in what they're doing today. So that's another way that we kind of bridge that gap for our students, to actually have somebody boots on the ground to talk to them and help them make those decisions.
UDC is a very, that sounds like an amazing
Thank
program,
you.
not only for veterans, but just for students in general, but
Yeah.
especially for veterans. But um, a lot of folks come back and they don't understand even their your benefits,
Mhm.
right? And UDC is an affordable institution here in the District of Columbia, particularly for DC residents. So,
Yeah.
can we talk a little bit about, again, I know you mentioned it earlier about tuition and how, their VA benefits may factor in, if at all.
Yeah, so I have three different tuition rates, which is quite odd for most schools, but it works in this area because we have the DC rate, we have a metro rate, and we have what's considered an out of state rate. And we have over the years changed the residency requirements. So at one point, you had to have established that residency a year prior to the academic term starting that you wanted to enroll in. Now it's 90 days. So they really are trying to make the university as affordable. If you move to the area, let's say over the summer, and you have that 90 days, you are then able to get the residency of that area opposed to a higher rate. And so for military folks, there are a couple laws and statutes that we use to govern that. It's other paperwork that we can accept to try to get them that lower rate. The
Mhm.
metro rate is 100, maybe $200 more than the DC rate. So the metro rate is still a substantial discount from the out of state rate. Um, and then we also have the DC rate, which is quite affordable. So for if you were doing an undergraduate program, let's say a bachelor's degree in biology, and you were taking 12 credit hours, that tuition rate, not including the fees, there are a couple other fees, but that tuition rate for a DC resident will be $3,888.
Mm.
Whereas the metro rate, so if you live, let's say, right across the line in Maryland, and the metro rate is decided by county, but let's say you lived in Landover in Prince George's County, that rate is closer to 4,100. So you see 3,900, 4,100, and if you were out of state, that tuition would be closer to 8,000.
So,
So
are you talking about the rate for veterans or just for students in
well,
general?
that's for all students. So we don't have a specific veteran rate.
So,
Yeah.
does would a veteran be able to use their VA benefits for
Yeah.
to UDC?
Yeah, so if they are eligible for benefits, so we actually don't do the determination if they're
Okay.
eligible and what they're eligible for. They have to bring a paper to us. That form is called a COE, or Certificate of Eligibility. It
Mhm.
comes from the VA. They bring it to the institution, to me, and I review it to make sure. I check the benefit that they have. There's a portal that I communicate with the VA via, and essentially once they get registered for classes, I'll go in and enter in how many credit hours they're taking and that tuition rate based on what they're registered for. And then based on that and the benefit that they, or entitlement, I call it, that they bring to the university, it'll determine how much the VA is willing to pay. And typically, it's not a lot of students who have out of pocket. There are some opportunities where students have an out of pocket, but for the most part, they're covered.
Yeah, and then some veterans, have had some college,
Yeah.
right? And so they still have some credits, and I guess you would work with them to find out how many of those are still transferable to the
Yeah.
university.
Through the
Hmm.
application process to the institution, students are to submit their academic transcripts from prior institutions. We also accept what's called the JST, or the Joint Service Transcript, and we have it's our registrar team that reviews that to give students prior credit as well. So we try to get them in as many credits as they are possible
So
or
does
eligible.
that, if I'm understanding, or maybe I'm not. So let's say if you were, a radio mechanic or whatever you might be in the military, are some of those is what am I trying to say? Is that job? Are there pieces of that job that may be transferable as course credits?
Yeah, so it would it's an internal review that we do.
Okay.
We don't say yes automatically because you could have that, you could say that, and then when we saw the transcript, it just said reading and writing. So we would actually look at the transcript, the JST, that joint service transcript, and see the dynamics of the class, obviously what you earned, and typically it's pass or fail, but what you earned on that transcript for that particular course in particular, and
Mhm.
then we'll assess credit. It's kind of on one of we have to review it basis. So
Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, I'm so glad you're here with us today because I really didn't know that this program existed there at UDC. And if, before we close, I mean, is there something you would want to give that like 30-second commercial about why DC residents need to know, share, veterans need to enroll in the program?
absolutely. So UDC is a space of love and support. Um, we really pride ourselves, and myself especially. I said it in my closing speech during our Veterans Day program. That day, that Veterans Day program is really a manifestation of the love that I have for the work that I do. I support veterans. I love veterans. I'm here to make their journey easier. They did something that I did not. There's a level of sacrifice that they provided that I did not. And so when it comes to school or this academic side, this stuff is easy for me. So I don't mind putting my all in it to make sure that they are supported, that they're matriculating, and that they are graduating. Especially in this area, it's so small, so everyone knows everyone. So I want my name to be represented in rooms that I'm not a part of, that people are are smiling and not frowning. I want my name to be synonymous with she supports veterans. She's a good person, and she's going to look out for people and make sure that they are taken care of. And again, I want them to matriculate and graduate so that they can support their families. I believe that's what it's all about.
You sound like an amazing cheerleader for the program and amazing help. And at least you give people from talking to you a sense of comfort, when they come in, because sometimes people are intimidated by,
Yeah.
you know, things like this. But
I
look,
get that all the time too.
yeah,
And I'm like, it's just school. You've been
yeah,
to school before, go to class.
right, right, okay. Well, we're going to put the information back up again about how people can reach out to you and the
Yeah.
program. And we wish you much success. Anything coming up that veterans need, like an open house or anything you all doing anytime soon that we need to
Uh,
share?
Not right now. We're putting our spring academic calendar together now. So I should have some things posted on our Instagram page within the next month.
Wonderful. Okay. Well, Dr. Adebayo, thank you so much for
Thank you
being
for
with us
having
today.
me.
And
Thank
good
you.
luck. And we look to see what veterans walk across that stage at graduation time in May.
Thank you.
All righty. Have a good
Bye.
one.